So today I watched Renee's video. I think it's this. Okay, this is much better now. And I was inspired by her vlog to film one myself. And what will this vlog be about? I've hit like a reading slump for some time. I've read a lot of books, but once I finish a book, it becomes very difficult to pick a new one, and it takes some days in between. Or if I pick right away a new one, then I start reading it and maybe read like 20 pages, and then I just put it down and I don't pick it up for like a week or 2 weeks. So I'm hoping, because today is Monday, 14th of October, that I will start tracking my reading this week every day, as I am working from home. So I will try to do that, track the reading, hence to see if I can maybe push myself to read more. What I am currently reading is one book that I've started on, hold on, let me see, 6th of October. And I've read like maybe, I don't know, like 40 pages. And the book is only 160 pages, so it's not that long. It's called We Could Have Been Friends, My Father and I, a Palestinian memoir by Raja Shehadeh. Then I'm reading The Wretched of the Earth, Frantz Fanon, which I started last week of September. I read like 100 pages and I just put it down and haven't picked it up for like several weeks now. And I am supposed to start another book, which is for work. I actually was supposed to read this at the beginning of the year, but I kept postponing it as it is in a format that I'm not very keen on. It's sort of interview format, like a conversational format. It's called Anarchy-In, a Manner of Speaking, and it's interview. Several people are participating in this conversation back and forth. One of them is David Graeber, and I'm using his work for my PhD. So hopefully I will be able to track my reading this week better and maybe just lift myself out of this very viciously toxic cycle where I start reading, I read a little bit, and then I just get stuck and have trouble picking up a new book. Maybe in the next video I will show you some other books that I'm planning to read for the vlog. So I'll see how far I can get with the initial plan, and hopefully you'll have fun with me on the way towards this goal. What is the goal? I don't know. Just read. I guess the goal is to read and not doom scroll. That is the goal. Reading, not doom scrolling. So stay tuned. Good morning. It is 8:10, Tuesday, 15th of October. Yesterday I recorded the first clip, as you might have seen, announcing the new reading vlog. I am trying to get back in the game of reading more consistently, as I haven't been able to make the reading long-term successful in a way that I don't have these big gaps of slump non-reading, reading slumps between the books that I read. So now I'm trying to correct that, and I've been reading a Palestinian memoir by Raja Shehadeh. Have to say that this book is, although it is a memoir, it is also a historical and political read, and it dives deep into the relationship he had with his father and the relationship that he could have had with his father if he had known certain things. And he's exploring, let's say, historical archiving that his father did when he was alive, of his involvement in politics and his involvement in general, trying to establish a Palestinian state after the creation of Israeli state. A lot of the things in the book that are written are some things I've never actually heard about, I've never read anywhere else. But it's not like I've read many books on the history of Palestine and the Nakba, and it's really detailed and it's very well written. I have to say, this book is like 160 pages long, and in just 60 pages he manages to give so much historical background and context, plus familial relations, the sort of entanglement and disapproval that some family members had of his father's political activism and his career as a lawyer. So I will go into greater detail after I finish it, hopefully today maybe, but I have to read something else as well, and I will update you possibly tonight. Oh yeah, and I'm in my pajamas, so talk to you later. Bye. It is officially sweater weather. I am getting ready for work. Finally, I got an office. Woo! After a year of waiting. But I'm here to update you on my reading. I was reading a little bit yesterday and this morning. So in a way, it was a semi-successful mission regarding my goal for this vlog, that is reading, not doom scrolling. So we shall see how it will go during the day. I am currently getting ready to go to work, and in the office, I don't believe I have internet. Maybe I do have internet. I just am not going to be able, I think, to connect right away. So that's going to be a good thing. We shall see. Otherwise, what am I going to be reading except this? I'm going to be reading David Graeber and maybe something else. I'll bring something else as well. Regarding this book, I have to say that I have been collecting books for Palestine and from Palestine for a while now, and every time I want to pick one, it just get like this really horrible stomach feeling here, like, you know, a pressure, and just completely I feel very not at ease. And the reason for that is because I know what I'm going to read in these books, and I follow the news every day, and I just thought it was going to be extremely overwhelming to read in books and as well follow what's going on currently in Gaza, West Bank, and in now South Lebanon, or in the whole of Lebanon, because Beirut is being bombed as well. But at the same time, I think I was wrong, because I feel like I'm not alone regarding this unease, how the Palestinian people have been treated over the last 76 years. So in that sense, it's giving me hope, and I'm feeling more determined to continue the way I have done so far regarding advocating for the Palestinian cause. And this book really opened up a whole new portal for me regarding understanding the history of the creation of the State of Israel and why certain Arab states were actually not supportive of the Palestinian cause. Like, they would be on paper, but in action they wouldn't be actually. So in that sense, this book has shed a lot of light on that. Especially currently I'm reading about Jordan and how Jordan's King Abdullah actually enabled the creation of the State of Israel because he had his own interest to sort of dismember Palestine between Jordan and Israel. So he had his own, let's say, megalomaniac goals regarding how Palestine should be governed, and meaning that it should be split between Israel and Jordan. And that has shed a lot of light on why we have the current situation that we have. So, yes, I will update you once I finish, and possibly maybe tonight, and then we'll see how it goes tomorrow. Chat soon. So, I'm back from work. What's going on? I came back just like 5 or 10 minutes ago, and we are making slow progress with reading. We're getting slowly into the groove. I didn't film anything yesterday. Today is, by the way, Wednesday, 16th of October. I am about 70 something or 80 something pages in reading David Graeber, and I've also read some pages from Raja's book. I am going to probably continue reading in the evening, as I have one lecture to attend at 6, and I will just relax a little bit now and maybe watch something online. And in the evening after the lecture, I will do some pleasure reading. I have to change a plan regarding my time at the faculty. I will be going after lunch so I can stay longer, as I am unable to, even though I get up early, my mornings are slow. So I think it's better to go after lunch around 12 and stay until 8, and then come back home and have a morning here in bed reading as well. So that's what I'm going to do. From now on, I will keep you posted on the progress I make reading, but regarding what I've been reading, my thoughts about it, I think I will just recap that in the last update. Okay? Chat later, Gator. This winter is just gonna be me in this cozy sweater in every single vlog. I just love it so much. I wear it every day. Don't worry, I'm changing t-shirts underneath of it, so it's not that I don't have other clothes to wear, it's just that this one feels very cozy and comfortable. So yeah, just love it. So I'm here to talk about the update regarding my reading. I didn't film anything for 2 days. I did finish yesterday this book, We Could Have Been Friends, My Father and I, a Palestinian memoir. And the book was very difficult to read at times, simply because it has a lot of details regarding the internal functioning of the occupation. Israeli occupation of the Palestinian lands. And although I'm following every day what's going on currently, reading a book that is historically presenting evidence of how we came to the situation that we are in today, it makes it very difficult, especially because you know that as an individual, well, I wasn't born back then. And the second thing is that those people who lived at the time were simply just going with the flow, like many are today. And I found it incredibly disturbing that we have just betrayed Palestinians in such a way that I'm not sure how will they be able to ever forgive the world for what, for standing on the side and watching the injustice that they endured every single day for last 76 years. But regarding the memoir, it gives a lot of historical background while presenting the story of his father, a life story of his father. Namely, I would say that this memoir is a lamentation of the relationship he never had with his father, simply because during his father's life he had a certain understanding who his father was, and this idea that he had of his father was heavily influenced by his mother. So the novel starts with him finding these files in the cupboard after his father was killed, and he starts slowly going through these files and finds letters, op-eds, different kind of articles written, different legal documents that his father collected throughout his life while he was politically active. And he became active very early in his youth, and he remained politically active until he was assassinated. And it's basically, while reading this memoir, you are on a journey with Raja, discovering everything about his father that he didn't know, and how he uses that as an opportunity to kind of express grave sadness that he didn't allow himself to get to know his father beyond this image that he had created based on certain experience with him and while growing up, and go beyond the relationship that he had built with him when he was young. I would recommend this book if you're looking for a memoir that is going to give you also a deep insight into the history of Palestinian struggle for recognition, and overall to see the struggle of one family through this period, and how one man had given everything he could to fight for the Palestinian cause. It was just, I really enjoyed it, even though it was heartbreaking at times and infuriating. I enjoyed it, so I recommend that you pick it up. The plan for today is to read Frantz Fanon and to try and read as much as I can of the other book that I have started by David Graeber. I should finish it this weekend, both of those, and maybe in the meantime I'll pick something else for pleasure, because I am reading those two books for work. Basically, because those two books are for work, I would like to have something on the sides that I can just go through while I'm in moments of some fiction. So I'm not really sure what I will read. I have several options so far. Maybe something like a tiny book again. I'm not sure whether that would be a good idea. Not a tiny book, maybe another Palestinian author. I have had this book for a while on my TBR, All That's Left to You, a novella and short stories by Ghassan Kanafani, translated by May Jayyusi or Jayyusi and Jeremy Reed. It's a really beautiful cover. And I will maybe pick this up because it's short stories and novella, so I might go through it fast. It's also 128 pages. And I'm wondering because I wanted to do a little book haul with so far with all the books that I've collected from different Palestinian authors. If that is something you're interested in, I can share it. You can just write a comment underneath. So, I mean, even if you're not interested, even if you don't write a comment, I think I'm going to do the vlog. I have most of the books that I've collected, I haven't read, but still, why not share what I've discovered through other readers, either booktubers or Instagram profiles dedicated to books, or through different bookstores. Recently, I found one book that I just ordered, was published, I believe, on the 1st of October by some university in US. It's a debut by a Palestinian author. I've never heard of her before, and I actually, by total chance, saw the post on Instagram created by Arab Literary Magazine, and they were basically they were talking about this book. So I ordered it, and there are some other books that I'm going to order as well that are from different Palestinian authors. So maybe I'll just wait until that batch arrives as well and then create the video. We shall see. Okay, I will. Why am I holding this book still? I do not know. Okay, never mind. Talk to you in the next part. This angle looks nice or it doesn't. It's a mess. Don't pay attention to this here or to this here. Bedroom up there. This here, I don't know what it is. So a little up. Today's Saturday, 19th of October. Yesterday I didn't film anything and I barely read. I think I read like 5 pages. I was so anxious and I just couldn't focus. I was falling asleep and nothing was working for me. So today I decided to try a different approach, and that is to time myself while reading. So what I do is I set an alarm on my phone for 1 hour from the moment I'm setting it, and I read for 1 hour without any distractions. And then when the alarm rings, if I need like a small break, I take it. If I don't, then I just continue doing what I've been doing and set another alarm for an hour. And I did it this morning and it was very successful. From 10 to 12, I was reading uninterrupted. And then I had to go do some shopping in a supermarket because tomorrow they're not working. And I just had lunch. It's 2:45 now. And I will start reading again. My estimate is that I will read probably around 50 pages. By the time I need to leave at 6 p.m. I'm going to watch a film with a friend. So I'm currently reading this, and this method that I've tried today, this morning, for the first time actually works very well. So I'm going to keep on doing that today and tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday and I'm free all day. I don't have any obligations, in the sense like obligations to run some errands or be somewhere. So tomorrow is going to be a whole day for reading. So I will be timing myself tomorrow as well. And then at the end of the day, I will report the results. And of course, give the review of the book. I will also address Shehadeh, Raja Shehadeh's book, simply because I feel like I didn't do it justice in the previous clip. I just was very vague. There are some things that I would like to read and address, some parts that have to do with the history of Nakba and the history of the occupation of the Palestinian territories, that I think we all need to be aware of. And it is connected to the complicity of other states, neighboring states. So I'll just say that here, and then I will see you in the next clip. I might report tonight, maybe not, maybe tomorrow. So not maybe, tomorrow for sure I will record, because I have to wrap it up. Okay, see you in the next video. So I'm just done. Oh my god, my hair is horrible. This is the first time I use this angle because I want to multitask while I'm fixing my hair. I'm gonna talk to you. At least try to fix it. So, how far I've come today? I read 75 pages of Frantz Fanon. His book Wretched of the Earth, and I would have read more if I started earlier and I didn't have to go to the store, which took longer than I thought. I think it took me 3 hours, which is insane. No, 2 hours, which is crazy, because I literally went to the stores that are just 15 minutes by bike from here, but I had to go to several places, so I guess that took a lot of time, more than I expected. Then I had lunch, and yeah, that's life, I guess. So I think I am pretty satisfied with how this experiment went today. I'm gonna continue tomorrow, and I think tomorrow I will finish Frantz Fanon, because I have one more chapter left, which is rather long. It's 50 pages, but I think I'll read it fast because the chapter is called, hold on a second. The chapter is called Colonial War and Mental Disorders. And it's split into parts. It has split into different cases that he talks about, and they're quite short, so I think that's gonna give my brain a trick boost, boosting it to work more towards the goal. I don't think I will finish Graeber's book tomorrow. Maybe I will try to push through and see if I can do some reading of it tomorrow. I for sure will, but I don't think I will finish it. And then I will just wrap it up, even if I don't finish it. Just report on the success of this 1 week reading vlog, trying to minimize doom scrolling and maximize constructive reading for my PhD thesis and for pleasure. So I shall report on that more tomorrow, and hope you have good Saturday. Yeah, like I said, here it's Saturday, 19th of October. Okay, talk later. It is time to conclude this vlog. Today is Sunday, 20th of October. It is 6:20 in the evening. That's why the room looks so bright. There was really nice daylight during the day, but I didn't manage to record as I was trying to finish Frantz Fanon. And because I stay up late last night, I was all day very slow and just not, so I didn't have that much energy, and the reading was going slower than, for example, yesterday when I had a really good night's sleep. So I said in one of the previous clips that I made that I didn't do Raja Shehadeh's book justice. And what I meant by that was that I didn't really address the most important parts from the book. One of them is that he gives an extensive explanation why these neighboring Arab states actually have not prompted or supported Palestinian cause and their rights to self-determination. They have actually pursued their own interests. And one thing I didn't know was that for the first 19 years since the creation of Israel and Nakba in 1948, the territories that were not under the Israeli occupation and became part of the Israeli state were part of the Jordanian territories. That was the territory that was not officially part of Jordan, but they were occupied by Jordan. And the reason for this is actually because, as Raja points out, that King Abdullah actually had aspirations to expand the borders, the initially given borders to Jordan by the British, I guess, or other colonial powers in the region. So we see clearly how this has continued throughout the last 76 years with different countries in the neighborhood. We see today with Egypt, for example, how Egypt controls the border, the exit border from Gaza, and how it earns massive sums of money. So the Palestinians would be able to leave if they wish to. They need special permits as well from the Israelis in order to leave, and they need to pay the Egyptian government. I think some private company is running this border crossing. I'm not sure. I was reading this somewhere. I cannot remember exactly. It was a year ago that I was reading about this. So, but if I find the information, I'll just put it in the description. So we see, and then we see other countries, neighboring countries, that actually also did not aid in any way the Palestinians for their right to self-determination. Other important aspects of this book is just complete and utter disregard to include Palestinians to decide for themselves how they want to and in what way they want to govern themselves. At one point he says that whenever they tried to negotiate, they were constantly shunned away. The doors was slammed in their face because these officials from different states were telling them, we don't negotiate with individuals, we negotiate with states. But because they didn't have a state, they were not able to negotiate. I think this book really made me angry. And the one question that I have asked myself was, how can this anger be utilized in a way to assist the Palestinian struggle and assist the Palestinian people? And I don't think I have correct answer for that yet. I don't think it should be an individual assistance or struggle. I think there should be a collective struggle, and if we have capacity to join collective struggle in our region, in our country, or wherever you live. I think that is the way to put yourself forward and express solidarity with the Palestinian people. I think this book went really well with The Wretched of the Earth, as Frantz Fanon uses dialectical materialism to explain how the struggle against colonization should be waged. And this is the first chapter where he talks about violence and whether it is legitimate to use violence against the colonial oppressor. And then the chapters that are coming after that are sort of giving you an idea how, after the implementation of a successful revolution and building of the organizing systems of the people, of the colonized peoples, how this should be actually performed. So mainly he is talking about the society, the structure of the colonized society, in particular in Algeria, but he's giving other examples, and he is giving examples how different class groups in society, what kind of role they can play in the revolution, what's their potential, and what is their danger. So during the revolution, he is analyzing this from the perspective of dialectical materialism, and he's also doing this in the post-revolutionary context, where he's explaining how society should be rebuilt, what role should the party play, and what role should the government play, how these institutions should be structured, if there should be any institutions at all, in the context of institutions as we understand them coming from Europe. And he's very critical of this, especially in the concluding chapter. One chapter that actually left a really big mark on me is the one that I read today, and it is the chapter called Colonial War and Mental Disorders. This chapter is written in a form of diary entries, or like medical note entries about different patients that he treated during the war. And I think before the war in Algeria, the war for independence. He talks about the mental disorders of these patients, what traumatic experiences they've had, and what were the symptoms of these traumatic experiences. He kind of classifies them in several groups, and based on those classifications, he gives like an overall understanding of these mental disorders, what is the main cause of their occurrence. So he was not only treating the indigenous Algerian population, but he was treating also the French colonial population, settler colonial population. And there were like cases that are just horrendous, and it's very difficult for anyone to read this, especially at this time, because there are many parallels what he describes in what we see today in Gaza, in West Bank, what the Israeli military is doing, especially with the detainees, civilian detainees in their prisons in Israel, the abducted civilian population, and especially regarding this more recent case of that one Palestinian man who was brutally raped by several Israeli soldiers. He talks a lot about the torture methods that were applied towards the indigenous Algerian population by the French army. And in that sense, I will say that obviously trigger warnings for all kinds of modes of violence that are described here. He also addresses some a doctor that wrote this book. He's a French doctor who was kind of justifying this colonial mentality, and he basically wrote a medical scientific book proving how the African man has an underdeveloped brain. And I'm gonna quote here, direct quote from this. He says, in order to make his point clear, Dr. Caroters, I don't know how this last name is read, it doesn't matter, establishes a very vivid comparison. He puts forward the idea that the normal African is a lobotomized European. And then he gives a quote from this book he wrote, and this is actually a study. It's called The African Mind in Health and Disease, a study in ethnopsychiatry, and it was actually published by a World Health Organization. And it wasn't published that long time ago. I believe this was published, yes, it says here, it was published in 1954. So mind you. The quote is from another book that I'm going to read. Hold on a second. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. I think this is like a medical court or something. This quote is basically talking about primitivism. And he says, this primitivism is not only a condition resulting from a specific upbringing, its foundations go far deeper. And we believe its substratum must lie in a specific configuration of the architectonics, or at least of the dynamic hierarchical organization of the nervous system. We have observed that the impulsiveness of the Algerian, the frequency and nature of his murderers, his permanent criminal tendencies, and his primitivism are no coincidences. We are in the presence of a coherent pattern of behavior and a coherent lifestyle which can be explained scientifically. The Algerian has no cortex, or to be more exact, like the inferior vertebrates, he is governed by his diencephalon. I don't know what that is. For anyone who is a medical student, this probably means something. Diencephalon? Yeah, diencephalon. The cortical functions, if they exist, are extremely weak, virtually excluded from the brain's dynamics. There is therefore neither mystery nor paradox. The colonizer's reluctance to entrust the native with any kind of responsibility does not stem from racism or paternalism, but quite simply from a scientific assessment of the colonized limited biological possibilities. So this is not racist. It's just, they have scientific proof for this primitivism, where it comes from. But I'm going to see, because the quote, this is Professor Porot. Yeah, some Professor Porot. The pages in this edition is 225, 226, and the edition is from 2021. I would like to read one part also, this one case he had. Hold on a second. So he had a patient who is he's a Frenchman who worked for the military and who was torturing Algerians, trying to extract information from them. Trigger warning for what I'm about to read. So before I actually read this quote, he talks about how he has become abusive towards his wife and the children, and he says he was never like that. He never used corporal punishment against his children. But there was this one part where he's like having conversation with Fanon, and he says he had never been like that. He says he seldom punished his children and never quarreled with his wife. The present problem has occurred since the troubles under quotation marks. Quote, the fact is we're now being used as foot soldiers. Last week, for example, we operated as if we were in the army. Those guys in the government say there's no war in Algeria, and the police force must restore law and order. But there is a war in Algeria, and when they realize it, it'll be too late. The thing that gets me the most is the torture. Does that mean anything to you? Sometimes I torture for 10 hours straight. Frantz Fanon asks. How does the torturing make you feel? This man replies. It wears you out, of course. It's true we take turns, but the question is knowing when to let your colleague have a go. Everyone thinks he's just about to get the information and is careful not to hand over the customer, all nice and ready for the other guy to take all the glory. So sometimes we hand him over and sometimes we don't. He continues. We even offer the guy money or our own pocket money to get him to squeal. Our problem is, are we able to get the guy to talk? It's a matter of personal success. We're sort of competing. We eventually messed up our fists, so we brought in the Senegalese. But they either hit too hard and mess up the guy in 30 minutes, or not enough and nothing happens. In fact, you need to use your head in this kind of work. You need to know when to tighten your grip and when to loosen it. You have to have a feel for it. When the guy is ripe, there is no point continuing to hit him. That's why it's best to do your own work. You can judge better how you're doing. I'm against those who get others to work the guy over and then pop in every so often to see how he's doing. The golden rule is never give the guy the impression he won't get out alive. He'll then wonder what's the use of talking if it won't save his life. In that case, you'll have no chance at all of getting anything out of him. He has to go on hoping. It's hope that makes them talk. Frantz Fanon asks, but what bothers me most is this business with my... Oh no, I'm sorry, this is not... Oh, this is the continuation of the quote. But what bothers me most is this business with my wife. I must have a screw loose somewhere. You got to straighten me out, doctor. Since his administration refused to give him a sick leave, this is the explanation Frantz Fanon writes, and the patient did not wish for certification from a psychiatrist, we treated him while on duty. It is easy to imagine the disadvantages of such a procedure. This man knew perfectly well that all his problems stemmed directly from the type of work conducted in the interrogation rooms, though he tried to blame everything on the troubles, as he had no intention on giving up his job as a torturer. In brackets, this would make no sense since he would then have to resign. Close bracket. He asked me in plain language to help him torture Algerian patriots without having a guilty conscience, without any behavioral problems, and with a total peace of mind. And then a footnote says, this case revealed the existence of a coherent system that leaves nothing intact. The torturer who loves birds or quietly enjoys a symphony or a sonata is simply one stage. The next stage is nothing more than a radical and absolute sadism. Should I add anything after this? I don't think I should. So that's Wretched of the Earth. I highly recommend if you can stomach it. If you cannot, leave the last chapter out. So how successful this experiment was for the last 7 days of me reading. Semi-successful. I finished 2 books that I already had started previously. One of them is still unfinished and I'm probably going to continue reading it. Not probably, but tomorrow I have to continue reading it. And I will finish that probably either tomorrow or the day after. And then the reading goes on and on and on and on. So we shall see what happens. I have some other formats planned for the channel. I will upload those videos as soon as I record them. They will be a TBR vlog, not a vlog, but TBR video, not a TBR video, a book haul video. And there will be another video which I will not say what it is because I want it to be a surprise. Thank you for watching if you stuck around until the end, and I hope I see you in the next vlog. Bye!